Hello guys, welcome back to another video. Today I am doing the first Freetime event. I will be doing Eva since we met her first.
Hi.
Having fun down here.
I'm out.
I'm avoiding the others. By hiding in the underground hallway of all places. Question her.
Seriously?
Why not just go to your room?
Gross.
Anyone can enter my room. No one wants to come down to a gross, spooky place like this though.
Well?
Except for you. It's getting kind of awkward. Do you want to give Eva a present? Sure. Thank you for the gift. I don't receive them very often. Eva liked your present. Eva stood there silently, a depressed look on her face. It's interesting. What is? When I first imagined meeting new Ultimates at Eden's Garden Academy, I expected them to wear their titles with pride. But for you, that couldn't be further from the truth. It doesn't fit well.
Eh?
What do you mean? My ultimate talent. Nothing about it fits. If you throw away the ultimate part, you're left with a corny term which barely defines what I actually do. And that is?
You see?
Well, general math, but more than that. Science, literature, aerospace engineering textbooks. All of these things which are leagues above trivial math competitions.
Gah.
The trophies I win relate to math in particular, yeah, but there's no depth to the word mathlete. It doesn't cover most of what I do.
That's...
Hold on, science and literature, you're knowledgeable in those fields?
Well?
I'm not really well known for my achievements in those areas, but I do consider myself a bit of an expert regardless.
So...
I'm like a jack of all trades.
I see.
However...
It's not as if anyone really sees me that way though. Earlier this year, I wrote a whole paper on an obscure subgenre of Western speculative fiction. I spent weeks on it, expecting it to receive a lot of attention from literary critics.
Where?
But when I published it, no one cared, even though I was an ultimate.
Right.
Well, your talent isn't really related to writing. You mentioned science too, I guess that didn't go over well either?
No.
None of it went anywhere. I could write a research paper on the theoretical possibility of light-speed travel, but no one would care because...
I see.
Because you aren't a scientist.
Correct.
Exactly.
Can't you see?
Do you see what I mean about my title being ill-defined? I've been forced into this little box. No one cares about anything I do unless it involves high school math competitions. It's like I'm completely invisible to them. I suppose that would be frustrating, yeah. I guess having less scrutiny does help with one thing though. No one pays attention to the skeletons in your closet.
It's the truth.
Sometimes even literal skeletons.
Eh?
Really?
No.
I'm lying.
Interesting.
You're a lot more gullible than I took you for.
That's not it.
To be fair, you did fool everyone with your cover-up talent. That's true, I guess. I can't blame you all for buying after it.
Really?
Is that another joke?
Not sure.
Perhaps. This girl is weird. I guess living in the shadow of your own ultimate title does that to you. She resents her ultimate talent for not being an accurate representation of her true abilities. I'll admit some of what she says makes sense, but it obviously doesn't justify her actions.
Hello.
You're staring. Is it even worth speaking to Eva? Keep her company.
Really?
Are there really no better places to spend your time? It's not so bad down here. When I'm bored, I just count the number of water stains on the wall. Would you like to give Eva a present? Might as well.
Hmm.
Keep for the gift. I don't receive them very often. Eva left your present. Eva once again stood there in silence. The expression on her face wasn't exactly sad, but I wouldn't describe it as happy either.
Hi.
I have another question, Eva.
Hmm.
Considering how much you dislike your talent,
There must be something.
how did you become a mathlete in the first place?
Hmm.
Dislike isn't the right way to describe it.
Huh?
What?
Thinking.
It's more like a puppy.
That's...
Are you comparing yourself to an animal?
No.
Then what?
Save it.
Can you let me finish the analogy? Fine.
Moving on.
Assume you've just adopted a puppy from a shelter, okay?
Come again?
I'm allergic to dogs.
Hmm.
You're missing the point.
Listen to me.
You bring the dog back, and it's cute and all, but there's a catch. It won't stop pooping everywhere. That's definitely not what I was expecting her to say.
Gross.
Unfortunately for you, and for your newly cleaned apartment, it looks like someone forgot to potty train it. So how do you get it to behave?
That's...
Positive reinforcements?
Correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did.
Eh?
They? My school.
No.
They treated you like a dog?
No.
Jeez.
Then what's the point of this analogy?
It's not fair.
The difference between me and a puppy is, an owner loves their puppy. Eh? A brand new puppy is like a brand new member of the family. It's a living being.
Gah.
I wasn't a living being. I was just potential.
It's the truth.
My school believed they had a genius on their hands because I studied complex subjects. So they threw all sorts of expectations onto me, including saving their notoriously bad mathletics team. I was convinced everyone would be impressed by me, but when 11-year-old on the team full of 16-year-olds. Only the adults were impressed, though.
I see.
Let me guess, the older kids were self-conscious?
Where?
Duh. People are bound to be rude when a random kid 5 grades below them surpasses their total combined wit.
Right.
That's a funny way to say you provoked them.
Hang on.
I didn't. If anything, I tried to keep to myself.
Listen to me.
But when you're the anchor keeping a ship from sinking, you have to do your job. And reputation aside, winning every single competition looks good on a portfolio. Anything for the college credits, huh? Eva gritted her teeth, a counter-argument clearly on the tip of her tongue.
But most of all,
It wasn't what I was hoping it would be. The mathlete stuff?
Eh?
I wanted it to be fun, and for the other students to admire me.
where?
I didn't think the other students would be so mean. Despite my attitude, I couldn't help but feel bad for her. Her story was, in a weirdly endearing way, kind of depressing. If what she's implying is true, and she was indeed bullied by older students, then it makes sense she would associate being an athlete with the experience. How unexpectedly mundane. Eva's school took notice of her smarts and asked her to save their athletics team, although she framed it like they were using her for their own gain. Unfortunately, the other members of her team bullied her. Down here once again.
Hello.
Hi.
Eva. I'm still grappling with what Eva and I discussed earlier. Just in a game like this seems pointless, and yet Eva and I spent some time together. Would you like to give Eva a present? Yes.
Interesting.
I like this. It's funny. Eva loved your present.
So,
Do you like Bastiles and Bastilux? Bastiles and Bastilux?
That's...
Is that a movie or something?
save it.
Never mind.
Where?
I'm tired of people in real life not liking the same things I do.
Huh?
Real life? Instead of the internet. What?
You see?
There are lots of people on the internet who share my interests.
You think?
Those people are still real. Well, duh, but they're not real. That doesn't make sense.
Anyway.
Do these people know you're an ultimate? Yes. They don't know what I'm an ultimate of, though.
Gross.
I would never tell them I'm the ultimate mathlete. So she wants to flaunt her ultimate status, but not the specifics of it, huh?
Right.
If you really think you deserve a different ultimate title, why haven't you asked the UTP to give you a new one?
Rage.
You think I didn't try that? After I received my talent, I emailed them every day. They started ignoring my email, so I started calling them, and they ignored that too.
How humiliating.
Eventually, I just showed up in person to their main institute. That was a 6-hour train ride, by the way. Seriously? I lugged a huge portfolio with me too, basically my entire life's worth condensed into 500 or so pages.
Stupid.
You know what they said? They said I had to be the ultimate athlete. Because if I wasn't, no one else would be.
I see.
There's a reason the second place doesn't get the gold medal.
Where?
Just picture yourself in my shoes, okay? You spent your whole life studying all kinds of fields. And all you get in return is a dumb title which will define you for the rest of your life. They'll put it on my gravestone. Here lies the girl who could barely solve Rayman's stupid hypothesis. Rayman's what? Never mind, that's not what I should be focusing on right now. Instead, she really is in denial about her talent, huh? But it's so obvious why she's the ultimate athlete. She's giving me the reason already.
I know.
Look, I'm just saying, you single-handedly saved your school athletics team. Writing a few papers about science and space doesn't make you the best in those fields.
Focus.
But winning every single athletics competition? It makes sense why you're considered the ultimate athlete. And even if your papers don't generate the kind of buzz you wish they did, isn't the point of writing them to expand your own knowledge of the subject?
That's not it.
No one gets famous from talking about the possibility of things, especially not niche things most people won't understand.
No.
It's not about fame.
Come again?
Then what is it about?
I'm out.
I need to go. Go where? I left something in the oven.
Seriously?
Oven? I was making myself an afternoon snack. Did you now?
Bye.
Yeah, I gotta go check. And there she goes. I didn't care enough to call out her lame attempt at an excuse. Obviously, she was lying. What else is new? Her earlier recount of the UTP was probably littered with lies, too. And yet, I keep returning to her, don't I? I keep returning to talk. The second she received her ultimate talent, Eva was adamant on changing it. She even went so far as to show up to the UTP in person. When the subject shifted to her research papers, she began to act weird and wouldn't tell me her reasons for writing them.
Hello?
Eva, what are you doing? What? I'm just standing here. So she is. Talk to her.
Anyway.
So what's your dorm room like?
Gross.
The bed is okay, but the rest of the room is just mean.
Eh?
Mean? I've got an optometer, but I don't have a map. And I have a Elise pisograph, but I don't have anything to draw a circle on. I have a bunch of mathematical instruments, but none of the things they're meant to be used for.
How humiliating.
That room is definitely making fun of me. Making fun of her by giving her useless math supplies? It sounds more like whoever decorated her room simply chose random things which reminded them of her talent. That seems to be how they decorated mine, at least. Apart from its superficial collection of math supplies and kind of comfy, dark purple carpet, I ultimately learned very little about Eva's dorm. Would you like to give Eva a present? Yes. Thank you for the gift. I don't receive them very often. Eva liked your present.
Hi.
Eva.
Hello.
What? There's something which has been on my mind since our last conversation.
There must be something.
What the heck is Riemann's hypothesis?
Where?
Oh. It's just some theory about the Riemann zeta function.
Eh?
And that is pure mathematics.
Huh?
Pure mathematics? Abstract math, math for the purpose of intellectual and philosophical fulfillment. It's nothing like the stuff they test you on in math league competitions. It's paradoxical. So is most math, if you ask me.
You see?
The point of the Riemann zeta function is to help us understand the relationship between numbers. I wrote a paper about how you can use tabletop gaming to understand it.
Come again?
How the hell did you come to that conclusion? Do you want to know? I mean, it's such an obscure thing to write about. Okay, I'll tell you what I wrote for that paper. Mathematicians will do this thing where they take number 1 and add it by increasingly smaller versions of itself. So 1 plus 1.5 plus 1 1/3 plus 1 1/4. The denominator can go all the way up to infinity, just like how you can count all the way up to infinity. No one's done either, though. I could gather as much.
However,
More importantly, the denominator can receive a status effect.
Eh?
Status effect?
look.
Pretend you're playing a turn-based tabletop game, and these numbers are your characters. You have the finite number character, that's the 1, and the fraction characters.
Thinking.
Fractions are special because the numerator and denominator have separate health bars and abilities. This means enemies need to kill both in order to defeat the entire fraction.
So,
It also means you can treat the numerators and denominators as their own characters. What the heck is going on?
moving on.
Anyway, it's the enemy's turn, and they've just cast a spell which puts the floating p next to the denominators. 1.5, 1 1/3, 1 1/4, and all the other millions of fractions suddenly become 1.5p, 1 1/3p, 1 1/4p, etc.
Listen to me.
But your opponent still has a bonus action. They rolled to transform that p into an 8, and it's a critical success. Now, those fractions have become 1.5 8th, 1 1/3 8th, and 1 1/4 8th.
I see.
So every denominator is to the power of 8?
Correct.
Exactly. For my turn, I decide to add all my characters together.
What could it be?
If I plus 1 by an infinite number of fractions, what number would I end up with?
That's...
The Riemann zeta function says that if p turned into a number higher than 1, the solution will be a whole number. So, a number with no decimals.
So,
If p is turned into a number less than 1, the solution will be 0, an infinite amount of zeros. Riemann's hypothesis is about the location of those zeros on a cryptograph. Crypto what?
Grr.
It's notoriously difficult to confirm though. I can guess.
Well,
You understand the Riemann zeta function now, don't you? I mean, I can't say I understand it fully, but the way you described it did make a bit of sense, somehow.
Thanks.
Good. The point behind that paper was to show pure mathematics can be taught in more creative ways. And more approachable ways, too. Tabletop gaming sounds more appealing than a math textbook.
Where?
If my ultimate was related to pure mathematics, I definitely think that paper would have made it big.
I see.
I honestly didn't think there was any merit to the subject at the start. But now that she's actually explained herself, it sounded like a decent topic for a paper. Did I doubt Eva because of her talent? The mathlete treating advanced mathematics like tabletop gaming does sound pretty goofy. Then again, it's a pretty goofy thing to do in general. If the ultimate doctor used plastic utensils to perform a surgery, I wouldn't revoke my judgment just because of their talent. Would I? Attempting to explain pure mathematics in a more digestible way, Eva wrote a research paper on the Raymann's zeta function. In it, she explained the function using terminology from tabletop games. Eva believes her paper would have hit the mainstream if her ultimate was related to pure mathematics.